What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. We are currently starting the video off with a little bit of a hunt. Yesterday my parents were in their bedroom and could actually see down into one of our hunting spots. And there's a small button buck down there, and then they also saw a huge 8 come through and push that button buck out of there. So I'm actually going to go down in here today, and they saw him around 1:30. Which that's around, I think it's about 1 right now. So I'm gonna go down in here. We have a tree stand in there already, but I'm gonna go back even further, see if I can't get down into these guys' little secret spot they got back here. So nothing crazy, really didn't plan this out, but let's go ahead and see if we can't snag something. We're also gonna go ahead and show you tomorrow's lift. Today we're taking the day off, so we'll show you tomorrow's lift after this, but let's go ahead and dive in there, see if we can't put down a big boy. All right, you guys, back at the house. Didn't see anything. That's completely fine. Like I said, it was kind of sporadic hunt. Just kind of went out there. It's still light out. It's like probably 4. Didn't feel like, sitting in the tree all day, but I knew that those bucks had been in there. So tried to see if we could get lucky and put one down, but didn't see anything. But I really, really liked the tree that I was in, which is kind of deeper into the holler compared to where our other tree stand is right now. So I'm actually going to go back in and mark out the path to that tree and mark that tree specifically because it had a really good view of it's kind of like a little mellow down there where all the hollers kind of meet. It's kind of a nice pinch point. So I'm going to go ahead and mark a tree. So I'm going to go ahead and take some markers down there and mark the path and mark the tree, and then we'll get into tomorrow's lift. All right, so this is the corner of our property, and this is the property I was just hunting on, which we have permission to hunt, but the tree I was in is right there, this one right here. So the way I came in was down there, and then I kind of crossed down here in the bottom and then went there, but maybe I can just cut right through here. The fence is here, but I might be able to climb over. All right, you guys got the trees marked up. It's pretty easy walk in. Didn't really have to trim much, but that's going to conclude today's little hunt.
All right,
and
so diving into our full
trees.
upper body day.
Let's go ahead and get
now,
into
I didn't have the SD card for my camera, so I had to use my phone. And the audio on that was obviously horrible, so we're just going to do a little voiceover for you guys. So diving into the upper body day, you might be wondering why I do a full upper body day. So I typically do a 7-day split. I am perfectly fine with recovering and hitting every muscle group 2 times a week, doing that, except for legs I hit once. But with that, I need to do arms and shoulders on Saturday and chest and back on Sunday, or vice versa. Or if I want to take one of those days off and do a 6-day split, I'll just combine the 2 on one of those days and just do a full upper body day lift on one of those days on the weekend. So that's what today is. Now, I was aiming for 6 sets for everything. So here we're starting with back. So we're doing 6 sets, starting with 2 sets of these kind of just high bar cable rows. And then we also moved over to these like dual handle cable row sitting on the ground. And I like doing it on this specific cable machine that they have. I don't know why, but the pulley system just feels better for doing a higher row. Whereas like the first rows I did just kind of doesn't feel right. So I moved over to these, and these felt really good. Just to kind of hit those rear delts, traps, mid back area or upper back area. And I've been really trying to emphasize my like rear delts and upper back. I guess you could say the width portion of the back, whereas I kind of already have the thickness with the, pretty developed lats. So working on that upper width area. After that, we went ahead and did 2 sets of lat pull downs. Now, what I like a lot about this machine and doing it on machines in general is that for the most part you can squeeze really hard at the bottom because the weight is, I don't know if it's lighter, but you're able to just stop at the bottom and really squeeze. And that's a big thing with back is lots of times because you can't see your back in the mirror, it's really hard to get that mind to muscle. So you really have to focus on squeezing and doing like cable lat pull downs. I really can't get a good squeeze unless I go super light. So doing this machine or doing other lat pull downs machines allows me to just load the weight up, but also really be able to squeeze hard at the bottom. And I often fluctuate on where I'm sitting with these. Sometimes I'll scoot my butt forward and lean back, so it's kind of a higher row. But today I actually sat with my butt where it was supposed to be and just did a traditional lat pull down, really focus on pulling with the back of my arms. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to failure on all of these sets, or at least pretty close to failure. That's kind of my philosophy, is like just leaving nothing in the gym. I know there's some evidence showing that like you can waste reps, by going past failure or going to failure, like you're just junk volume, I guess they call it. I'd rather do too much and then dial it back than not do enough. I think I've said that before in other videos. So, maybe if I do these and I realize I'm at the gym for too long, or maybe I'm too fatigued and not recovering enough, then I would dial it back. But, I'm recovering just fine from going to failure. I like the intensity of the workout. So I always advise people go to failure. And if you need to dial it back, dial it back. All right. So now moving on to chest, starting with some low to high flies. Now you're going to see I avoid any pressing on this day just because it could be on a Saturday or even could be on a Sunday. And I usually do chest on Monday. So I'm kind of just trying to get a chest pump, not really trying to fatigue out with some sort of like crazy incline press or some pressing machine. So I always start with low to highs just because I think building a big upper chest is very important for a good physique. That and shoulders, having really good shoulders and a good chest is like my top two recommendations. So started with low to highs. We did 3 sets here, and then we moved the cables up and just did normal flies, except I don't like to really step out super far and stretch out my shoulders. I kind of like to just stand in line with the rack and pull the cable that way. Now, some will argue, well, it's better to have a good stretch on the chest, and I completely agree. But for some reason, on cables, when I step forward and do that, it really pulls a lot of my front delts. So I'll save the stretching motions for like a typical fly machine, which I'm not doing today. So we just did these normal flies, standing parallel with the machine. And one thing to note with doing them this way is the squeeze is super, super hard. So if you want to hit something that, I don't know if it necessarily targets the middle of your chest or the inside of your chest, but the pump for sure is crazy on the inside of your chest when you do it like this. All right, so now moving on to arms with some triceps. We got these reverse grip push downs. I've been trying to really focus on growing my triceps because obviously it's like 3/4 of your arm and I'm trying to grow my arms. But with that, I've been hitting a lot of long head, which is that underneath muscle of the tricep. And I really need to focus on balancing out my long head and the lateral head, I think it is, or whatever that tricep muscle is on the outside. So on the weekends, I like to throw in a lot of reverse grip stuff just to kind of, maybe make up for some of the lateral head movements that I might have missed during the week. And then next up, we do the push down machine, which is also really good for the lateral head of the tricep. I used to not like these, but as I've started to do them more and more, I've started to, enjoy them more. And if you have any muscle movements or exercises that you don't enjoy, honestly, just force yourself to do them. Only if you know it's a good movement. So like skull crushers, for example, which you'll see us doing here in a minute. I used to not like them at all, but then I realized how effective they are for other people. So I forced myself to do them, and that really not only helped me get comfortable with doing them, but also helped me see a lot of growth. So sometimes you just gotta man up and just do the movements you don't want to do, and eventually they'll feel good. So after these push downs, we went ahead, or I guess dip machine, we went ahead and did skull crushers for the long head underneath, like we talked about earlier. And for each of these tricep movements, we went ahead and did 2 sets of each, just 2 sets of absolute failure. And then after that, we moved on to shoulders and biceps. Now, with this kind of superset that I did here, I did 6 sets of side raises and supersetted that with 3 sets of preacher curls and then 3 sets of the chest supported rows. So I started out doing the preacher curls, 3 sets, supersetted that with 3 sets of side raises, and then swapped out the preacher curls for the chest supported curls and supersetted those again with side raises. Now, this is one of my favorite pumps because when you have a crazy bicep pump, it kind of bends your arm at the perfect angle for side raises. And that's one of the biggest issues for people that do side raises is they often, don't have their elbows in the right spot or their positioning of the arms aren't right. So having that bicep pump, as crazy as it might sound, actually positions your arm to be perfect for going into side raises. So maybe something to try for yourselves. But that's going to wrap up today. I hope you guys enjoyed the little hunt. I know we didn't kill anything, but it is what it is. That's why they call it hunting, not killing, right? And I also hope you enjoyed the little voiceover workout full upper body day. But yeah, that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to please follow me on Instagram at Blaine Riley Lifts, same for TikTok. Also go check out Synchrist, which is my Christian clothing brand. It's like vintage grunge style clothing while also rocking your faith. And one last thing, we've also started a school community for Christian lifters. This is basically just a community that I'm making called Apex Performance. It's called the Apex Tribe, where it's just a bunch of Christian lifters. We're going to talk about our faith, talk about lifting, talk about, maybe our workout that day, or maybe, we ask each other what our favorite verses are. Just a community where we can honestly talk about anything, as long as we're just making a difference in spreading our faith and just having fun with it. I just want a community where people can not only talk to me, but also connect with other people who, might be like-minded and might be able to help them. So go ahead and check that out. The link is down below to join the community. It won't hurt you to join. Worst case, you just unadd yourself if you don't enjoy what's going on in there, but I doubt you will. So go check that out. With that being said, remember, guys, to love God, lift weights, and live life. We'll see you guys next time.